So, if you've been out of the loop of updates for Road to Vostok's upcoming Build 2, don't worry, I've got you covered. I've been loosely following the progress and sneak peeks coming up in Build 2 for Road to Vostok, and while most of us were under the impression that the update promised the Nomads, which is an upcoming friendly or hostile faction that you can interact with, Anti has been seemingly working triple overtime, packing enough new content to bundle into this update that it could be something considered like a small overhaul of the current state of Road to Vostok as we know it. I will try my best to quickly cover over everything that has been teased and share it to all of you watching, so grab a snack and a water because there's a good bit of stuff in the works. To help organize this a bit better, I've made a pyramid to discuss the different things going into Build 2 by categories, from the most impactful via game engagement and systems wise. These are just in my opinion and roughly categorized, so bear with me. So obviously the largest part of this update and the main marketing point so far has been the friendly or hostile faction, Nomads, which could be friendly or hostile, depending on how you choose to interact with them. If memory serves correctly, the Nomads will be the first faction that the player character can interact with that can directly benefit them in multiple different ways, whether it comes to watching over your cat, assisting you with fighting, or interacting with the new boss, dubbed Hunter. There may be a few other ways you can interact with them, but I'm not 100% sure on that one. Alongside these Nomads' introduction to the RTV universe, there will be enemy AI overhauls. Respectively, the bandits will become more dangerous, sporadic, and undisciplined in order to reflect their unruly and risk-taking nature. The border zone guards will become perhaps much more defensive and coordinated, as well as the Russian soldiers that you meet inside of the permadeath zone. The biggest point of difference will be likely how much more dangerous it will become to cross the military soldiers inside of Vostok. I believe Anti intends to make them much more tactical, smart, and precise in how they will engage in firefights with the player character. Next, we have new NPCs, NPC variety, animations, and 2 new zones. On the topic of new NPCs, variety and animation, as well as the new zones, the introduction of the driver and his bus will become an interactable service that you can begin to use. He will function as well as a trader who can offer the player tasks. Also, an unlockable shelter will be integrated into his introduction, which is going to be located inside of the highway map. There hasn't been any concrete image of the garage shelter yet, but Anti was kind enough to link the reference photos on Steam. Driver is a smuggler who used to organize tourist trips across the border. My personal guess is that he may become a transportation service that the character can utilize to travel more safely to specific zones as the RTV map begins to grow in scale and size. Did you ever feel like the enemies were a bit bland in appearance after about 20 hours of playing? Meaning that they all looked roughly the same? In Build 2, we are finally going to start seeing some of the more elusive models that were on Azuna SW's portfolio, bandits with graphical hoodies in particular, varying logos and designs, and to my surprise, we will begin to see entirely new outfits and aesthetics as well for the new bandits. To me, it looks as though we're finally going to see bandits in-game that will reflect much more closely to the ones we saw in the official RTV Bandits video that was posted back in March 2nd of 2024. Which is fantastic because they won't just look like copy and pasted enemy 1, 2, and 3, they will actually have their own flavor and a good bit of variety to get rid of the feeling of deja vu with every bandit that you come across. Another point that caught me by surprise as well is the fact that there's 2 new maps being added into the game, something I'm sure most people weren't aware of until Anti started to tease images of Airfield, and allegedly there's another map in the works dubbed Bridge, which is supposed to serve as a new alternative border zone map that leads into the Vostok permadeath areas. This next one is kind of just acknowledging an error that I ran into, because originally when I made my chart, I had assumed the new guns and gun customization system was coming in Build 2, but like I said, this was a mistake on my part. The guns update and full customization is coming in Build 3, something I'm super excited for, and I'm sure it will introduce some much more needed personalization and investment factor to your loadout. The positive upside to this is that Build 3 seems to be being worked on in conjunction with the introduction of Build 2 and the Nomads, so it's not like we will have to wait super long for Build 3 to come out, because it is still apparently on schedule to come out in Q4 of 2026. Last but not least, as a bit of a side note, there is a handful of new items coming soon, namely the wristwatch, serving as an alternative to the alarm clock. If you could look at your wrist and tell time, I think that it is a minor but very neat and immersive detail that I believe players would appreciate, especially the fan base of RTV. The most important part of this section, though, is the bag space overhaul. There will be additional windows of inventory that open up for the player dependent on what backpack that they have equipped, which could help you with a long-term run into the permadeath zone and increase overall wealth gained per run. And lastly, the big question mark in the lower right-hand corner of the screen is going to be the introduction of a new and recently teased special boss and in-game event, dubbed the Boogeyman. My guess is that he has a chance to appear in wooded areas at night, and if we dive into the Finnish folklore and what the Boogeyman is in that culture, it could implicate some more supernatural tendencies. Perhaps not. It could just be a murderous hobo with NVGs and a Mosin with eagle eyes coming to ruin your run. We will not know until the update arrives. I'm sure I may have missed a few minor things in this video, and I'm also sure that I may have misunderstood one or two things, but I tried to be very careful to compress all the things that have been teased so far coming to Build 2. I think a lot of us were not expecting Build 2 to be so big, and also include all of this secondary content that will be added into the game. I don't know about you, but I'm seriously looking forward to all of these things either way. If you liked the video, by the way, do consider subscribing. I'm covering Road to Vostok updates, as well as theory and lore crafting on this channel on occasion. Other than that, I do tend to make more general gaming videos and things of that nature. I'm looking forward to see Road to Vostok grow, and how Anti seeks to expand upon the immersive world that he has made for us. Peace out.